winter-like with the cooler temperatures and that lake effect snow and the windy conditions. Look at our feels-like temperatures. I mean, it feels below zero in Marquette and International Falls, otherwise single digits in Minneapolis and Bismarck. And notice Grand Rapids, it feels like it's in the 20s, Chicago 30, Buffalo 26. So it feels quite cold out there. I don't even care what it actually says on the thermometer because all that really matters is what it feels like to us, right? And so it is feeling chilly. Here is energy diving through the Great Lakes. That's going to cause some instability for us here. And all of this means snow. But it's all very light snow for the most part. Of course, you get a little elevation. That's where you're going to get some heavier stuff. Temperatures ranging from the low to upper 30s for a lot of us here. But again, remember, those wind chills are a lot colder than that. Snowfall totals here the past couple of days, anywhere from 5 to 10 inches. Altmar getting double-digit snowfall for us, but again, you get that elevation. Tuck Hill Plateau is around like 3,000 feet up, so we do get a little extra snow there because we can just squeeze. It doesn't take a lot. Doesn't take a lot, a few thousand feet just to squeeze out that extra bit of snow. And we still do have winter storm warnings here. Pulaski, Watertown, you guys are all used to this if you live here. Oswego, Hastings, right along I-81. We do have more snow coming in because you have the winds blowing over the lake, and that means that we are going to see that lake effect. And you can see the bands setting up really on all the Great Lakes from Superior to Michigan to Huron on into Ontario and Erie as well. Or maybe I should have said Erie then Ontario. But you know the Great Lakes. Look at the winds, too, through Thursday. They are going to be cranking here, especially into New England. It's really going to be rocking and rolling for us. Overall, 1 to 3, maybe 3 to 5 with heavier stuff into Maine when all is said and done through tomorrow morning. But notice our winds and how breezy it's going to be, 40, 50 miles an hour today. And that lingers into our Thursday, into places like Watertown, Rutland, and all the way up into Caribou. So the next few days are going to be chilly and breezy. Look at Caribou Thursday night, Lynette, at 13 degrees.
Ooh, I need to put some sleeves on. You just
eclipse happening in just a couple weeks here, Jordan. Monday, April 8th. It's going to be spectacular.
And you can see the reflection of the sun.
So much at the top of the hour of America's morning headquarters. It's spring, but winter is plastered on the stop sign and everything. And yes, the snow is a big deal, but you know what I think is a bigger deal? These wind chills. They are brutal. Marquette feels like 3 below. International Falls 8 below. Bismarck is single digits. Same in Minneapolis. Grand Rapids, Chicago, Omaha feels like it's in the 20s. And that cold air, by the way, all the way down to Louisville feels like 41. D.C. feels like 37. Cherry blossoms are out. They are gorgeous looking there along the tidal basin. And here is energy. This is what's helping cause some of that snow coming. You get double-digit snowfall total. And, of course, where you have any elevation, you can just squeeze out that much more moisture from the atmosphere. And it doesn't take a lot, just a few thousand feet, just shoving it up, you know, a mountain or a plateau. It can really squeeze out that much more. So lake effect snow coming from Superior, Michigan, Huron, Erie, Ontario. It's coming off all the lakes here, and we do have a little low that's helping enhance some of it too. Winter storm warnings here along 81, Oswego, Pulaski, inland as you know everything kind of pulls off the lakes. There's your low. There are your winds going over the lakes, and you can see the banding of the lake effect snow with the winds, which is always, I think, just super cool to look at. It's pretty, it's neat, it's interesting, it's a little different, and you do see those bands coming in, and notice the low pulling out for our Thursday, but still very windy conditions here into New England. That could maybe slow down some flights here at Boston, and you know Boston's such a big airport, so if that slows flights down, then everything can kind of get slowed down. So the snow to come still, not lows, 1 to 3, maybe 3 to 5 for us. But it's the winds that are going to be, I think, really tough in that wind chill. Think about your winds, 40, 50 mile an hour winds, taking that temperature down. And that's what we're going to see all the way through our Thursday. And winds always take so much time, I feel like, Lynette, to really taper off, even though the system is gone. It does, and it's always. Let's continue to talk about what this system is going to do, because once it goes through the southeast, then it's going to be heading up the east coast, and it could bring rain to us along the I-95 corridor from Boston all the way down into the Carolinas. We could see a lot of erosion as well. Both models actually giving us that rainfall. So it's not just the system in the south, which, by the way, I want to point out, this is the same one that caused a snowstorm in Colorado About a week ago. It was like Wednesday night into Thursday. That is this same energy. Isn't that wild? It is to me, at least. Here's another system, and these two are going to merge together, if you will, work off each other. Look at the tight winds that we have here with our tightly packed isobars. You've got the rain, you've got the onshore push. That's going to be eroding at the beaches. That could cause some flooding for us, especially on Saturday. And we don't need any more rain in this area. We've already had well over a month's worth in several places here, 3, 4, even 6 inches, nearly 7 inches of rain there into parts of Maine. So there's the northern system. There's the southern system. The two of these are going to be coming together. Look at Saturday morning, just an absolute utter mess for us here along the East Coast. It continues. This is Saturday evening. It's really starting to pull out, so the interior will look much better. But look at the winds. It's going to be very breezy for us with this system. That's going to be moving out, and then we have yet another one that's going to come in. But at least Sunday is going to look a lot better. That was the European. Let's look at the GFS that shows us that Saturday 6 a.m. we are quite wet. As we head around 6 p.m. again, northeast still holding on to it. Sunday, you're looking marvelous, darling, simply marvelous. Then this low kind of hangs around, maybe tossing moisture into New England, but we see our next system that comes into play here. The winds will be a big deal, not only if you're traveling. Look at that, 40, 50-mile-an-hour winds for our Saturday and also into our Sunday. But Lynette, this is also going to kick up that surf, so people heading to the beach, spring breakers or not, I mean, staying out of the water might be a good idea. Look at those wave heights. Yeah,
it is going to be a good idea.
The future, whatever that thing was.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. We're at that time.
What year is it? 3012?
Golly.
That looked so in the future, and those tulips look beautiful. All right, let's have a look ahead at this midweek edition of America's Morning Headquarters. It's been so we're moving into, we all were talking about the moon this morning. I don't know if you saw it, but we're moving towards that new moon, that full moon, so that we have the totality.
Yeah, because right now it's what?
The hurricane season, too. You know, we got to think about that. Yeah. At the top of the hour in America's Morning Headquarters. It's sprinkling on the roads, but obviously a lot more on the grassy areas. It is cold. I think the snow is obviously a big deal, but I think this cold is an even bigger deal because we have our wind chill temperatures, our feels like temperature in the teens in Grand Rapids, the single digits in Minneapolis, and 11 below in International Falls. Though to the people in International Falls, that's spring for them. No, I'm just kidding. But they really are a hardy bunch. I was up there years ago, and I remember having on like 5, 6 layers. I was freezing, had on a ton of layers, and there was literally multiple people that just had on their shell. Like it was no big deal, like long sleeve shirt and a shell. So it's definitely different if you live in these types of temperatures all the time. Here's a look at that energy coming across the Great Lakes and causing that snow that's starting to kick off too. We have it here coming off the lakes. It's going to be scattered in nature. Buffalo now getting in on snow. Last hour we just had clouds. Albany too warm. We're getting in on a little bit of rain. It's really elevation snow, 7 to 10 inches where you get some of that elevation. Altmar, they're up in a little bit of lift. All you need is 1,000, 2,000 feet, 3,000 feet, and you can squeeze out that much more snow than you can at the surface. So it's coming off lakes Huron, Michigan, Superior, Erie, Ontario, all 5 of the lakes here, which, by the way, were made from glaciers, which I always just think is a fascinating and cool fact. Winter storm warnings go from Pulaski inland here. And this is along I-80, so it could be a little bit tough travel there along I-80. And notice the isobars. We're going to have winds that will be blowing some of this snow around, making that visibility not great, and also just making it feel really cold. This system exits, but notice still tightly packed isobars. So that's going to mean turbulence. That's going to mean potentially some flight delays in Boston. And then you run into, the trickle-down effect there across the board, where if someone's late out of Boston and you're somewhere where there's no weather whatsoever and you're wondering why you're delayed. Though they do build in a lot of time now for these planes so that you don't run into those issues. The winds, though, as we go through the day today, those wind chimes are going to be making some music. 40, 50-mile-an-hour winds. They might actually get tangled up with the winds blowing so strong. Lynette, these last all the way through our Thursday as that system starts to pull out, and then we reset for the next.
All right, yeah. Yeah, if it's trash day, definitely need
Heads up the East Coast and is going to combine with yet another system, bringing us quite a mess as we head through our Saturday and really into our Sunday as well. So over the weekend, we could get another 2, 3, 5+ inches of rain for us here. Both models having that heavier rain essentially down that I-95 corridor, and there's a lot of other impacts too. System number 1, by the way, the same one that caused that snowstorm in Denver nearly a week ago. It was like Wednesday night into Thursday. That is this energy, which I think is just wild and cool. Then we have a system to the north. These come together and combine along the East Coast. And this weekend, it is going to be windy. It is going to be wet. It's going to be snowy for some of you in Maine. So we could see flooding, not only from the rain coming down, but that onshore push of water in areas that don't need it. Since March 1st, we've seen 3, 4, 5, 6 inches of rain. So we have been saturated here. Notice our two systems. This is a European model. Snow in the Great Lakes. There's our system in the south. They merge together Saturday morning. Oof. This is raw. This is not a good look. As we head into our Saturday evening, it starts to pull out, but the northeast, because obviously we're a little farther east, we're still feeling it. Sunday, it is much, much better. And then we have our next system that's going to come into play. How about the GFS? Storm number 1 and 2, pretty similar starting points, right? So this comes together Saturday morning, both having really unsettled weather for us, hanging into the northeast for Saturday evening. Sunday, though, this does clear out, and we will see improving conditions. But then we see our next system come into the picture. How about those winds? They will be strong. They will be gusty. We could see some power outages. I think travel will be really bumpy and disrupted this weekend, Lynette, from all of this. And then, of course, it's going to kick up those waves up to maybe even 20+ feet here offshore, Lynette. So just be careful if you're headed to the beach along the East Coast.
Yeah, you might want to take some
40's not that far away, by the way.
Crazy.
That looks way futuristic. Well, still ahead here on America's Morning headquarters. It's been there was a lot of like arm motion, I feel like.
I don't remember. I just love it. I know I love the song.
It reminds me that there's a lot of bouncing and a lot of arm movement going on. So I'll go look into that.
Yeah, you do that. I'll do this while you do.
Started with this?
No,
no,
miserable.
Yeah.
White caps, awful.
All over the place. That's what I expected. All right, let's take you for your dog walking forecast. We've seen dogs surf.
Hey, guess what? We got 2 reasons to celebrate today. It's first full day of spring.
Yes.
And it's the start of the National Cherry Blossom Festival.
Double yes. You'll want to catch them while you can, because this year's Blossom Festival is the last chance to see the trees in full bloom before a major improvement project takes place.
Yeah, we've got Mike Litterst, Public Affairs Officer for National Mall and Memorial Parks, joining us this morning. Mike, good morning. And first, let's just talk about the cherry blossoms, how they reached peak bloom on Sunday, which is the 2nd earliest on record. How much of a role did the warm weather play in that?
Warm weather played a huge
temperature.
Everything is warm. Oceans are the warm. I mean, it's warm, 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 warm. So with this changing climate and this warmth that we continue to see broken month after month, year after year, what changes have you seen in the blossoms?
The blossoms themselves.
Can you talk a little bit about that work that's going to soon start along the tidal basin to protect those cherry blossoms for generations to come?
We are very excited by this time next year.
Jim Cantori is up there right now for something off camera, but something for work. And he sent us pictures yesterday of Stumpy, who I've become like obsessed with.
Right. Well, I know there's a hashtag Save Stumpy, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done.
I'm sorry we can't move and replant Stumpy.
I know. Mike Litters, thank you so much for your time. Public Affairs Officer for the National Mall and Memorial Parks. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, we do. All right, let's go to Lynette to talk a little bit about it's March Madness coming up, but we got a March mess, Lynette.
Yeah, we sure do.